Hey guys, it's me, your new regimental officer. I just went ahead and investigated these catacombs down there. Looks like we're good to go. So come on, let's get out there.
I've had it. I tell you, this is the 5th time one of our officers got mauled by these undead freaks. I have it. When does this hellhole finally end?
He's right.
Hey there, fellas. I heard your cries of pure agony and despair. I gotta say, I also wonder where all this is going. You know, the zombie apocalypse and such. You fellas interested in joining my very own community, the 69th Regiment? There's a link in the comments section. Alright, sit back, relax, and let's get started.
What is a comment section?
Before we begin, nothing I'm going to say should be taken as true lore. I'm not a Guts and Blackpowder dev, I don't make up the lore, blah blah blah, you know the rest. So, to know where we are headed, we must also know where we came from. And surprisingly, I want to start with something I've never really covered on my channel before. That being the supposed true origins of the blight. You see, according to the Guts and Blackpowder wiki, before the blight would reanimate the dead, it was just a very deadly but unknown disease, which has its origins in the Russo-Turkish War. Also, I think it's cool to mention that there was an actual plague epidemic in 1812 lasting till 1819 in the Ottoman Empire. It doesn't have any links with the Russian War though, and I doubt this plague was the inspiration behind the blight. But you never know. That's why I thought it was worth a mention. In any case, the blight gained the ability to reanimate the dead shortly after the burning of Moscow during Napoleon's invasion of Russia, which was of course a glorious invasion and expansion of the French Empire, and not a tactical mistake at all. Why the devs chose for this specific event being the trigger for the blight to make zombies is a mystery to me, but it is very interesting nonetheless. The blight quickly sweeps over mainland Europe and goes on an absolute killing spree. By 1815, it renders Prussia totally overrun, with Austria and France probably next. We can see in both Roscoff and Catacombs that France isn't holding up too well. That brings us to France and Britain. Oh, the lovely pair. I think the rivalry that undeniably still exists between the two, despite the truce starting at Leipzig, is what will actively be the downfall of mainland Europe. The Brits with their opportunistic behavior, and the French with the supposed lack of their emperor, Napoleon. It is stated multiple times that a combined Anglo-French force is to liberate Europe. If these two knuckleheads don't get it together, then the entirety of Europe will turn into an all-you-can-eat buffet for the shamblers. In Roscoff, we see how dire times turn soldiers into murderers. The church NPC, for example, takes matters into his own hands and does some, very bad no-no stuff to the British soldiers there. That brings me to the final two things I want to discuss. The fate of the Roscoff survivors being the first. Let's be serious here. Where are these goobers headed? Will they make it back to the mainland of the USA without anyone being infected? Or will they be intercepted by a British frigate? Gonna leave this question with you guys. What do you think? The final thing I wanted to cover is Jutland. At the time of recording, Jutland hasn't been released yet, but it is referred to as, quote-unquote, the last stand against the blight, or the last defense against the blight. Now, while this sounds very edgy and cool, people take this as the final stand of humanity as a whole or whatever, when really, it's Denmark's final stand, not humanity's. I don't know whether we are meant to survive Jutland yet, or if the devs are going to implement a new sort of ending to this map, but still. This being Denmark's final stand means after Copenhagen, things only went further downhill. That means we know Denmark, Prussia, and possibly even Russia and Sweden are totally taken over by the blight. That puts all our hope that's left into the fragile Franco-English alliance. But honestly, are we in safe hands with this alliance? I asked my subscribers this in a poll, and well, yikes. The majority thinks we're all dead, and honestly I might have to agree. France and the UK really need to put their backs into it and save Europe from annihilation, but I doubt they'll be able to. Nations I can see making an appearance in the near future are Spanish guerrillas, the Netherlands, and maybe, just maybe, the Ottoman Empire. As for maps, I think there will be a large number of both objective and also holdout, since Fez, one of the main developers in Guts and Blackpowder himself, stated he dislikes Endless, which is more than fair. It is the most unoriginal game mode after all. Not to say it's bad, but it is very straightforward and can get boring very quickly. So, in summary, I can see a lot more nations being added and also lots of more maps with various game modes. For example, an extraction mode like in Roscoff, where our only goal is to save certain NPCs, much like our friend Crawford. Lore-wise, I think it all comes down to what happened to the British and French and Prussian forces at Waterloo. Are they succeeding? Have they lost? But what do you think? What nations will be included in Guts and Blackpowder? Will we succeed against the Blight? Only the future will tell. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.